Welcome to the Celeritas Director Commentary Series, Episode 2.
Ready? All right.
Let's do it.
All right. Hey, this is Alexander Adell, creator of Celeritas. I'm here with Ryan Coleman.
Hello, hello.
And we're recording director commentary for Episode 2 of Celeritas. So the format of this is we're going to be listening to the episode, hitting pause, talking about it. For the most part, try to keep it to discussions about Episode 2, and that seems...
It's Episode 2, baby.
That's right. Go.
Computer! What the fuck?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Status, please.
Bearing 319 241. Location 2,491 astronomical units
What?
from Earth. Oort cloud 295,800.
All right, so Oort cloud. When that coming to? When did you decide you're going to send Owen to the to where Voyager is presently chilling? Did you ever think you were going to leave the solar system, or are we staying local?
Yeah, it was one of those kind of writing quandaries where I'd kind of cornered myself. I wanted him alone in the universe, deeply, deeply alone. It was the middle of COVID. I felt incredibly isolated, and I had these moments listening to ambient music of like almost exquisite isolation, and I wanted to express that feeling. If I feel alone, what's the most alone someone could possibly be? For some reason, it was this guiding principle. And for him to be completely alone, it occurred to me that what if the whole human race was gone? And I was like, well, how would the whole human race be gone if he's flying around in his ship? And I was like, well, maybe there was a lightspeed test, and all this time passed, and that sounded pretty good. And then I was like, well, if he goes lightspeed, there's no way he's coming back. I mean, physically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're too far. And I was like, it's a cute idea to have someone go lightspeed, and now the solar system is thousands of years older and humanity is gone, and it's this romp around the solar system.
And did you figure out, all right, I'm going to put him at 99.9% of light speed. How long of a quote-unquote burn would that be to put him on the edge of the solar system where he's...
I did all the math. I did days of math, basically figuring out the distance he would have traveled, the speed he would have need to have gone in order to travel that distance, how much time that would be in real time, i.e. a day and a half. And it had to be long enough that it was possible, but not so long that he would have died of thirst in this strange limbo he would have been in. But to him, it kind of felt like a day and a half. To the rest of the solar system, it felt like 10,000 years. But I was like, okay, so if he goes light speed, that's really cool. But now he's just going to be really, really freaking far away. And how's he ever going to get back to explore the solar system? He's not. He's just gonzo. There's no turning around at all. And then I started doing the math, and I was like, really, how far would he go? And I realized that if you hit light speed for a while, you actually won't leave the solar. I mean, you'll leave our sort of neighborhood, but you're still inside the Oort cloud. The Oort cloud is immensely far away. I was like, well, that's interesting. So the Oort cloud is one of those great kind of science fiction things because there's a lot we know about it and there's a lot we don't. And most stuff you read, the assumption is that the Oort cloud is just sort of a asteroid field.
But not Jupiter-sized planets.
Not Jupiter, not Mars. Not something you could really do gravity assists around. And I was like, the only way I'm ever going to get this guy back into the solar system is if I decide that, we don't know what's out in the Oort cloud, and I'm going to play my science fiction writer card, and I'm going to say, maybe there are big things out there. We don't know. And I try to mention it in the dialogue, too. I mean, he even says it. He's like, this is just supposed to be a bunch of rocks and ice. I honor what we assume is out there.
What we think as of right now it is.
Because it was the only way I was going to get him back, is to do some gravity assists way out there. And then I started doing the math on the gravity assists.
To get back.
Yeah.
Because that almost seems more difficult.
Yeah. How many gravity? I was like, I just had pages and pages of calculations. So much research.
And just so people know, what's your background with education? That you would, because for some people the idea of doing math to calculate these things sounds, you need to be a Caltech or JPL or some.
Well, that's what's lucky is I'm not launching a real spaceship. I'm doing science fiction math.
Yeah.
So
so it's not as bad. You're
Right.
using your TI-88 or whatever to
That's right.
do your calculations.
It's-
TI-80.
My calculations being correct are not life or death. I started out as an engineering major, and then I worked in 3D animation for a decade. And 3D animation is a lot of math. I was a technical director on a bunch of Pixar films. That is a buttload of math.
Yeah.
I became relatively comfortable with that just being a tool I had to have in my belt in order to get through my day. It's not rocket science, and this sort of is a little bit of rocket science, so I had to learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's science fiction, I would sort of learn enough that I'd be like, all right, this math is pretty close. I'm within the correct order of magnitude, and I'm going to move on because it's I need to actually write another line in the screenplay, not just sit here doing math all day. But I did learn some things that I didn't really understand that made it even harder. And that's what's so cool about the research and about the math and how it makes writing something like this easier sometimes. Because the way a gravity assist works, if you just go near a planet, that's not a gravity assist. Going near a planet and then pulling away, yes, you speed up going near the planet, but then as you pull away, you slow back down. Because now first the planet's pulling you toward it, and then as you go away, it's pulling you back toward it. You actually don't change speed by just zooming close to a planet. There's other things you have to do, and I didn't know that going into this.
Yeah, I don't know. This is all new to me right now.
And so I was like, what the hell? What? There's all these gravity assists in all these movies. What? It's supposed to speed you up or slow you? Like, how does this work? And the answer is that if you do strategic burns, during the gravity assist, they can have a outsized effect on if you've done the burn without the gravity assist. And so...
It's an amplifier.
Yes. And it depends on where in the gravity assist you do the burn, how much it's going to affect your speed change. And that's so cool, because now that went in the script, At the beginning, a gravity assist, you wouldn't feel it. You're sort of obeying laws of gravity. But once I realized you had to do these intense burns to take advantage of the gravity assist, suddenly, now episode 2 is a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's the burns that are
that
dangerous. It's the burns that kill you. A gravity assist doesn't change your Gs. Your Gs remain the same. You're always sort of in free fall. But if you're doing a hard burn, now you're risking your life. That can knock you unconscious. That can kill you.
And so you looked up how many Gs would theoretically kill someone, and what ways could you do to help not kill yourself? You had to go to a higher.
I did all this research on G-forces and what pilots do, and there's certain breathing techniques. So Owen actually uses like a correct, you can kind of hear he does these sort of, you do these breathing techniques. That was fun research to do. Research is one of my favorite parts of writing. Like, I just love learning about that stuff. And it feels like cheating, Suddenly your story is so rich with all these strange details that you just stole from reality. I don't want to make up all this stuff. Anytime I ever hit any kind of wall with the story, the answer was always research. I was like, I don't know where to go from here, and I'm just going to start rabbit holing on stuff. And something always came up. Some amazing paper, some strange thought. Suddenly there was a door. Suddenly there was a way out of whatever conundrum I put this poor bastard in.
95 kilometers per second.
What are you talking about? Oh, Vega. I'm still trying to put the pieces together. After engine test 2B, my computer isn't making any sense.
And I loved this idea that
most systems seem to be nominal.
he's clueless.
Yeah.
Please respond. Over.
And you,
Such
the
an
audience.
insane concept
Computer,
that
has there been any communication from
Yeah,
mission
he's
control?
just playing it straight.
All right. Where's the sun?
The sun is visible through the rear camera.
What? That's just a star.
And the image is so clear to me, but I always wonder how that translates for people.
When he
See
says it's just a star.
yeah, like,
That actually worked, because you think it's just you get he's really far away. And his confusion, and also denial that
yeah.
there's no way that's his son.
Yeah.
All right, computer, initiate full system reboot.
He's in total denial the
Where
whole
the
time.
star's going. Whoa! What the hell is that? Cancel reboot. What the hell was that?
Unknown.
Oh
rate is 175. Try taking a few deep breaths.
Damn you, mother!
I liked how you did that.
I was so excited for this, to like
Go for it.
scream my head off.
And you're still doing this in the car at the state park?
Oh yeah. Well, this is so I recorded episode 1 and 2.
Oh, that's right. It's
In
on
one
there.
go.
This is still your first attempt.
It's still kind of the pilot, sort of the 2-episode pilot. It took me maybe 2 or 3 recordings. But yeah, in the state park, this is where I was really like, I am about to scream obscenities as loud as I possibly can, and I am in a public place. There was like one other car in the parking lot, no one around. There was a few squirrels. I was like,
Did they run? When
They
the
looked.
psychotic human?
The squirrels looked, and in the original cut, it's all in there. Serious obscenities, you MFer, you effing killed me, you're a murderer. And I got the note, and I think I sort of agreed with it. It was sort of in my head too, that it was just coming on pretty strong. And I was like, in my mind, I wanted to have the shot, if this was on
You're
film.
20 feet outside the spaceship.
Exactly. I wanted to have that kind of look at how alone he is kind of shot, the kind of long shot of a ship in the darkness. And you kind of hear his muffled screams. Even though if you're outside of a ship in space, you're not going to hear
No,
anything.
yeah.
And so I wanted to imply that wide shot by just muffling the hell out of it for a second. And also give people a break from me screaming my head off.
It's like visually you think, okay, now I'm further away.
Yeah. And
And this dude is really pissed off.
Is that what our last adjustment was? How much time has passed? How old is Clementine?
And all those little rumblings are supposed to be like rocks flying by, rattling the ship.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that really translates.
It was just supposed to be a bunch of rock and ice. This is my cemetery. You bet the entire company on an artificial black hole. I believed in you. Just 2 additional years, you said. Textbook gravity assist, you said.
I actually recorded an entire scene with Erica discussing that in like a boardroom. Of her pitching
what
this.
the real mission is.
Yeah, and her selling Owen on that idea. And it was long, and it really only... There was only like 1 or 2 facts that it got across. And I was like, I think this could just be 1 or 2 lines. But it's pretty subtle. If you're not paying attention to those 2 lines, you've now missed one of the main logical facts of the inciting incident of the show. So it was a little risky to downplay it that much. But again, that exposition,
Yeah, and you're trying to keep the fat trimmed as
Yeah.
much as possible.
This was another, like, how do you put some emotion behind exposition? And so him basically sitting on his own deathbed, reflecting on how he got there, seemed like it would be allowed.
Gravity is... Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's it. Computer. Please tag any mass in sensor range over 10 to the 16th kilograms.
And like the aha moments that he has are like the aha moments I had while writing. Be like, gravity assist.
Got this guy here. How the hell are we gonna match?
That's as big as
Which is great. And then you incorporate that right in there.
Yeah.
There are giants out here. Okay. Can we use those to plot a multi-swing gravity assist path back to Earth?
And then like trying to get this out, trying to get these lines that made any sense.
Get us pointed back towards the sun.
No natural gravity assist path found. Multiple engine burns required. 25 swings. Max engine burn would generate 17 Gs.
17 Gs could kill me. Alright, we're moving fast. Maybe it's different now. Recalculate for max acceleration of 13 Gs.
13 Gs, by the way.
No solution.
Will
Update
definitely
now
knock you
requires
out.
32 swings with maximum 22.
It's an immense
Jesus,
amount.
that's worse. Go! Execute the new path with all overrides. Fuck!
First of 32 total engine burns and 55.
So, the reason this episode is called 32. It's because it's 32 swings. This episode is an homage to Battlestar Galactica. And they have an episode, it's called 33. And
The second episode of the series.
Yes. And what is so amazing with the beginning of Battlestar Galactica...
Which you turned me on to that series.
Oh, is that right?
I mean, I watched as a kid, but yeah, that episode is incredible.
And it takes you from the old world to the new world because you suffer with them. And because you suffer with them, the thing about that episode that structurally that I found so powerful is they make you suffer. They make you deal with every time they come out of light speed.
Was it 20 minutes or so? They would come out, they had a countdown timer.
Before the Cylons found them,
Yep.
And then they had to spin up,
jump again.
They had to spin up the FTLs again, and then jump again. And in that time, there was a battle, and people died every single time they came out of hyperspace, and you suffered with them. So that by the time it was over, as the viewer, you physically felt like you had been through an ordeal, and you physically knew that nothing would ever be the same again, and you were never going back home. You'd come too far. That was too hard, and you're never going to find your way back. And that experience of dragging the audience through, hopefully not in a boring way, hopefully in a way that feels propulsive and feels like it's on a ramp and still has some story structure behind it where you're invested, but to drag the audience through a somewhat suffering experience so that by the end of it, they cannot deny that nothing's ever going to be the same again. I just was so impressed with how they did that with Battlestar Galactica, and I knew that if I really wanted people to understand how deeply screwed this guy was, that would be an amazing device to try my hand at, to try to honor and pay a little tribute to Battlestar Galactica. Mine is 32, theirs is 33. I'm the little peon, and so that's what this episode is. It's this suffering, repeating experience that you endure with Owen. And hopefully by the end of it, you're not looking forward. There's no looking back because you've now been through too much with him.
Mm-hmm.
6 Gs.
Mission Control, this is Vega 5C, transmitting in the blind. There's been a significant setback.
Second of 32 total engine burns in 44 seconds.
And you set up, you're like, am I going to see through 32
Yeah.
of these?
Back towards Earth. Gravity assisted by unexpectedly large
no.
bodies out
No,
here.
But-
you figured out a way to do it.
Yeah.
It technically works. But one of the burns is 22 Gs. Which could kill me. I'm trying to rig my chair to break backwards if I pass out.
So one of the things about high Gs is the blood drains out of your head. That's why you pass
My
out.
data is being
Yeah.
transmitted.
You're and the blood like pools in your torso and your extremities, and so I just had this idea that
7.3 Gs.
if suddenly a chair fell backwards, all the blood would rush to your head. Maybe that would kill you too. But at least gave him something to do. I like this idea of him hammering away, desperately jumping back in his chair and strapping back in.
Please relay the following to my daughter Clementine Keating, born January 28th, 2034. She was 3 when I left.
Penelope's birthday is January 28th.
Clementine, I cherish every moment we ever had together.
Cover what you know?
That's right.
I'm thinking of every single one of them right now. We didn't have enough of them, did we?
Firing 10.8 Gs.
So he's now at the upper limits of what humans have done.
Yeah.
Fourth of 32 total engine burns in 22 seconds. 14 Gs.
Yeah, and so they keep
I thought that by pushing myself I was helping you.
getting worse.
The only way I knew how.
Firing 14 Gs.
And so those weird sounds in the background are meant to imply you sort of
Blacked out.
hear more burns.
Oh, that. Huh.
And recording Penelope, she was 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what was her fee? Was it favorite snacks?
Her rider was a real pain in the ass. No. So at the beginning, because I needed these quick little lines from her, and I knew there'd be lots of effects around. It was super casual. We'd just be playing together, and I'd be like, "Hey Ben, can you just say this? Say, hey Daddy, are the stars always in the same place?" I would just hold my phone. I would just record it on my phone. But like at the end of episode 1, when she's like, "Today I played and I ate blah 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 and popcorn," I had a whole line for her to say. But I tried to get her to say it, and she was like sort of confused. And I was like, "Just tell me what you did today. What'd you do today at school?" So that line is actually what she did that day at school. But that was an unscripted
Does she
moment.
know she's a podcast star out there?
I mean, she knows the show is out there, and she had fun doing it. One of the other things that's weird is, it took me 3 years to make this. In the story, he's like, she was 3 when I left. So the maximum age of any memory he has of her is 3. Right? But by the end of the season, she was 6 when I was recording her voice. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
She has spent half her life recording this show with me. As she got older, sometimes I would try to direct her to maybe sound a little younger, and I would say, like, "Can you try that a little slower?" But she still has some of her little baby talk stuff, so I was like, there's nothing I can do. This is now a 6-year-old playing a 3-year-old. And at the beginning, it was a 3-year-old playing a 3-year-old.
I think my rib is broken.
25 at 32 total engine burns in 36 seconds. 22 Gs.
No. They are not always in the same place.
Solution has unknown error rate.
Just tell me.
Minimum elapsed time since launch is 450.
Which sounds horrible, but it's not even as horrible.
Leaving on cliffhangers, it's a somewhat obvious tactic.
Yeah.
And of course you're going to do that. But the intentionality around it became a lot clearer to me as I produced the show. That I'm going to try every single episode to have it leave with a little bit of shock value and leave people somewhat stunned. And sometimes it took a while. Like in the first draft of a script, the ending would feel somewhat conclusive. And I'd be like, nope, gotta drop a bomb somehow.
Would you only in the writing process, or were there times where you'd say, okay, as I'm recording, it's going to reveal itself?
It was usually in the writing process. Something that happened regularly is I would be like, well, what's the bomb going to be? I need to save this big reveal for the next episode. And I would just be like, nope, screw it. I'll figure that out later. I need it. And so I would borrow some big reveal from the next episode and use it as my cliffhanger in this episode. And then I would get to the next episode and I would have this weird plot debt where now I had to figure out, my big reveal has already been revealed as the cliffhanger for the previous episode, and now I need to go find some new crazy stuff. And I think the thing I gained some peace around is that you're always going to figure it out. There's always story to tell. And if you have some cool idea and you need it now, and you're like, no, I gotta save that, use it.
Yeah.
Burn the ships. Use everything you have to make this moment as absolutely good as possible. Don't worry about the next moment. Make this moment amazing. Make this episode amazing. And the next episode, you'll figure it out. You'll do more research. You'll do more reading. The characters will reveal themselves in a new way. Something will come up, and you'll have a whole new thing that's even better than the reveal you thought you were going to pay off in this one. And that took me a while to get comfortable around the...
Being comfortable with the unknown. That
Yes.
you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Just have faith. Keep pushing. So the second episode aired a week after the first, October 2021. What was the awareness of this show at this point? How many people were listening to it? How many people were subscribing to it?
Oh, 0. I mean, nothing.
You're just putting it out. You're not even worried about it. You're probably not even looking at any of that yet.
Not really. My assumption was that maybe once I got the whole season done, I could put some effort into marketing it, or I could maybe think about that stuff a little more. I just knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing.
So you had the 2 out. You're starting on the 3rd one, and people were saying you really shouldn't release any more until you finish the whole thing. And then you made the decision of, no, I'm not doing that because...
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And that would have meant you would have spent the next 3 years, and you wouldn't have had
Off track.
Off track, and also not having the feedback, not understanding.
With feedback. And that was the key part, because A, I had no idea what I was doing. B, I don't think anyone knew what they were doing. I mean, fiction podcasting is still a thing people are figuring out. And so for anyone to say this is the right way to do it is incorrect. And so I needed to figure out my way to do it. And I knew nothing. I mean, honestly, from the startup world, you know, I used to work in startups, and I've never built anything without feedback. That's the way you build software. You get an MVP, a minimum viable product, out into the market, and then you let the market help you learn what the market needs. Because you don't know the market. You're just one person. You have one perspective. And maybe you have a few friends that can help you round out your perspective a little bit. But nothing compares to the market. Nothing compares to your actual audience and how they respond and what they say and what they feel. I couldn't imagine trying to do something now.
If you were going to do a new series,
I would not do it that way.
Would you do the whole thing first?
Yes, I would.
Because you feel confident enough now.
Because I understand the space a little bit. I understand how an audience engages with a podcast. I understand what is long and what is short. I mean, I didn't even know what's long, what's short. You know, I'd listened to a lot, but they were a little all over the place. Episode 1 and 2 used to just be episode 1. And then I got the feedback like, 20 minutes of you screaming? That's kind of a lot. And I was like, maybe. So I chopped it up. So it was originally going to be a 10-episode season. But episode 1 got cut into episode 1 and 2. And episode 2 got cut into episodes 3 and 4. So that's why it's a 12-episode season. And then after 4 was done, I was like, no, I think these need to be longer. And that was the feedback I got. You know? People said, like, only 10 minutes. And I was like, crap. But yeah, first few episodes come out, and I start cranking away on the next 2. And I told a few people about it, and I started getting a little bit of feedback. But it was basically crickets.
Which is actually good too.
Yeah.
Because you're building your world, and it's a nice, quiet place with a couple passionate people.
And what I really didn't want, you know, if I had, I don't know, paid for marketing or something, if I desperately tried to get 10,000 people to listen to episode 1 and 2, I probably would have gotten a lot of people saying mean things too. And then that probably would have hurt my feelings. And then I may have stopped, you know. So it's nice at the beginning to just kind of run quiet and be creative, have a few audience members, start to build that up slowly. But then after a while...
the feedback was, we want more per episode.
Not only we want more, but we want them to come out faster. Speaking of which, I'm kind of doing the same thing now. I'm starting a new project, and I have a new screenplay, and I'm documenting it on an Instagram account. And the Instagram account right now has like 40 followers. And
so you're in a similar place as episode 1, 2 with this new project. Following the same startup, we're going to do it really small.
And learn what people like. And it's these like 2 or 3 minute videos of talking about the screenwriting process and what getting notes is like and how to deal with tough notes and how to do rewrites and meetings and writing group feedback, following the process of how do you take a concept to a full feature screenplay. And, you know, I record a video a few times a week and put it up. I'll say the account. It's ZA_output on Instagram. So please follow along. It's not a Solaritus story. It's a completely different story. But that process, I love the process of trying to find a way to make something meaningful and learning through trial and error and learning through feedback and learning through iteration what actually works. Because it's not the same as what would have worked last year. And it's not the same as what's going to work next year. In this moment in time, there's a certain shape to a thing that fits within the current zeitgeist. Mm-hmm. And it's temporary. And so you need to be in touch with your audience. You need to be in touch with the product. It's this living thing. And I love that experience. Hey, this is Alexander Adell, creator of Solaritus. I'm building my next project in public, and I'd love to have you along for the train wreck of the creative process. Just follow ZA_output on Instagram. It's going to be a mess. Drop by and say hi. I hope to see you there. All right, now back to the show.